Have you ever felt, well, a bit lost trying to figure out medical admissions in India? Especially somewhere like Bihar. It can seem really complex. Today we're going to try and cut through some of that confusion for you. We'll look at the whole picture of medical education in Bihar. Think admission tests, college details, fees, and, what happens after you graduate, the career paths.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating, I think, is just how many layers there are to this. If you're seriously considering a medical career in Bihar, getting these details right isn't just, helpful, it's essential. So this deep dive should give you those critical insights, not just the what, but maybe a bit of the why, too.
Okay, so let's start big picture. Bihar seems to be growing as a place for medical aspirants. What are the main undergraduate options available? Focusing maybe first on MBBS, BDS, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. So the main ones, all needing that NEET UG score, start with MBS, Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery. That's the big one most people think of. Then you've got BDS, Bachelor of Dental Surgery. And beyond those, Bihar has a really strong presence in allied health programs. We're talking BAMS, which is Ayurvedic Medicine and Surgery, BHMS, Homeopathic, BUMS, Unani, and also BVSC and AH. That's Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry.
Wow, okay. That's quite a range. And what's the scale? How many colleges, how many seats are we talking about for, say, MBBS and BDS?
Right. So for MBBS, Bihar has 21 colleges altogether. It's split pretty evenly, 12 government, 9 private, and that adds up to nearly 2,500 MBBS seats in total, which is quite significant. For BDS, it's smaller, 7 colleges, 2 government, 3 private, offering just over 300 seats.
You mentioned BAMS earlier, and it sounds like Ayurveda has a particular standing in Bihar.
It really does. BAMS is significant. Our sources point to around 11 Ayurvedic colleges offering roughly 170 BAMS seats. And some of these have real history, like the Government Ayurvedic College in Patna, founded way back in 1926. It's still a major institution for traditional medicine.
Okay, now here's something that seems to trip a lot of people up. Is Bihar an open or a closed state for medical admissions? First, just briefly, what do those terms mean here?
Yeah, that's a really key point. Open state usually means students from anywhere in India can apply for certain seats, typically in private colleges, or sometimes a percentage of government seats. A closed state, though, mostly limits admissions to students who have domicile, meaning residency, in that state. Understanding which one applies is, vital for your strategy.
So what's the verdict on Bihar? Is it open? Is it closed? What are our sources telling us?
And this is where it gets, interesting. And honestly, a bit contradictory, which really shows how complex getting clear data can be. One source flat out says Bihar is an open state. It specifies this applies to private medical colleges via state counseling and also to the 15% all India quota seats in government colleges. Those AIQ seats managed by the MCC don't have domicile rules. But then another source directly contradicts this, saying, no, Bihar is not an open state. Only Bihar domicile candidates are eligible for both government and private MBBS, BDS seats.
Oh, okay. That's quite a conflict. That really hammers home the point for you, the listener, doesn't it? You absolutely have to verify this directly. This kind of discrepancy could be down to maybe recent policy shifts or different ways of interpreting the rules. So always check the latest official information from BCEC, that's the Bihar Board, and the MCC. Your planning really depends on it. Right, so we have a sense of the landscape. Let's get into the actual admission process. The big one first, the entrance exam.
Yes. It's simple in one way. NEET UG. That is absolutely the only entrance exam for getting into MBS, BDS, BAMS, BHMS, or BUEs in Bihar. No other test counts. And eligibility. Standard stuff, mostly. You need your 10+2 with physics, chemistry, biology, and English. You have to be at least 17 by December 31st of the year you're applying. And of course, the big one, you need a qualifying score in NEET UG.
Okay, qualifying score. What does that typically look like? What kind of percentile should students be aiming for, roughly?
So for the general category, it's the 50th percentile. Mark-wise, that's usually a pretty wide range, maybe around 164 up to the top score of 720. For SC, ST, and OBC categories, it's the 40th percentile. They usually fall somewhere between, say, 129 or 163 marks. There are slight variations for persons with disabilities, the PWD categories too, but those are the main benchmarks.
Got it. So once you have your NEET score, how does the actual counseling work? I think you mentioned a kind of dual system.
That's right, 2 main tracks. First, you have the Bihar Combined Entrance Competitive Examination Board, BCEC. They handle the state quota counseling, often called UGMA counseling. That covers 85% of the seats in both government and private colleges within Bihar. The other track is for the remaining 15% of seats in government colleges only. These are the All India Quota, or AIQ, seats. They're managed nationally by the Medical Counseling Committee, the MCC. And importantly, those AIQ seats have no domicile restriction. So if you're from outside Bihar aiming for a government seat, that's your route. Or potentially private colleges via state counseling, depending on that open-close status we talked about.
Okay, so focusing on the state quota route through BCEC, what are the absolutely critical steps in that online application? Can you walk us through the highlights?
Sure. It's a multi-step online process. Step 1, crucial. Register on the official BCEC EBS site, the seipur.bihar.gov.in. You have to get your email and mobile number right at this stage. They say they can't be changed later. Then you log in, fill out personal and academic info, upload your photo and signature, and they specify the signature should be in Hindi and English, but not in all caps. Then comes the payment. Paying the counseling fee, it's non-refundable. And pay attention here because the amount varies. For most categories, UR, EWS, BC, EBC, it's INR 1,200. But for SC, ST, or DQ candidates applying only for government colleges, it's lower, INR 600. If they apply for private colleges too, it jumps back to 1,200. After payment, this is vital. Download and keep hard copies of what they call Application Part A and Part B. These have your unique UGM ASCII ID. You'll need that ID for everything else.
That's super helpful breaking it down like that, especially flagging the contact info and the fee details. What about timing? When does all this usually happen?
Okay, so the timeline generally follows the national NEET schedule. If NEET UG was, say, May 4th, 2025, and results came out June 14th, 2025, then you'd expect the MCC counseling for the All India quota to kick off maybe late July. And Bihar State Counseling, the Bihasi Bugmak part, usually follows right after, often starting end of July, maybe running into early August. The goal is usually for the academic session to start around September 1st, but again, you must keep checking the official BCC website for the exact Bihar schedule. It can vary year to year.
Makes sense. And after registration and results, how do students actually select their colleges, the choice-filling part?
Right, that's the strategic bit. You log back in using your UGMAC ID and password. Then you basically create a ranked list of your preferred colleges and courses. You can add many preferences. It's really important to think carefully about your order. Then you lock those choices. That locked list determines where you might get allocated a seat based on your rank and the category cutoffs.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit to something very practical. Money. What's the cost of studying medicine in Bihar? Thinking MBBS, BDS, but also BAMS.
Yeah, costs can be hugely different. For MBBS and BDS, especially in private colleges, the fees are, well, substantial, significantly higher than for BAMS. Our sources suggest private BAMS college fees might be in the range of, say, 3 to 4.5 lakhs per year, which is still a lot, but often less than private MBS. But the really big contrast is with government colleges, government BAMS colleges. Incredibly affordable. We're talking maybe just a few thousand rupees a year, sometimes up to maybe 19,000. So that massive difference really underscores why those government seats are so competitive, right? And why financial planning is critical, especially if private MBS or BDS is your target, because those fees will likely be much higher than even the private BAMS figures.
Absolutely. So given the competition, especially for government seats, what kind of NEET cutoff scores are we generally talking about? For MBS and also maybe for BAMS and Bihar?
Okay, for BAMS and Bihar's government colleges, you typically need NEET scores somewhere in the 350 to 450 range for the general category, maybe a bit lower for reserved categories. Private BAMS colleges usually have lower cutoffs, maybe more in the 200 to 300 marks range for general. Now for MBBS and BDS, particularly government seats, the cutoffs are significantly higher. You really need a top-tier NEET rank for those. Just to give a few examples from 2024 BAMS data, Government Ayurvedic College in Patna was around 400 for general, but other colleges like Dayanand in Siwan, or Nitishwar in Muzaffarpur, or Srimoti Singh Jageshwari in Chapra saw general cutoffs more in that 200-300 range. Using that kind of past data is really helpful for you to gauge your chances and plan your choices.
Definitely. And beyond scores, reservations play a huge role. Can you give us an overview of the seat reservation policy for MBBS and BDS in Bihar?
Yes, reservations are key. The structure seems to be 16% for scheduled caste, SC, 1% for scheduled tribe, ST, 18% for extremely backward class, EBC, 12% for backward class, BC, and interestingly 3% for reserved category girls, RCG. That RCG quota specifically reserves seats for female candidates within different categories. Now, it's worth noting, sometimes different sources might quote slightly different percentages for some categories, maybe reflecting older data or slightly different classifications. So again, the latest official perspectives from BCEC is your definitive guide.
Good point. For listeners maybe starting to research specific colleges, could you name a few of the well-known medical colleges in Bihar? Maybe highlight one or two.
Sure, there are quite a few prominent ones. You have Netaji Suhas Medical College and Hospital in Amhara near Patna, Narayan Medical College and Hospital down in Sasaram. There's Lord Buddha Koshi Medical College in Saharsa. Madhubani Medical College is another one. Mata Gujri Memorial Medical College in Kishanganj. Also, Radha Devi Jageshwari Memorial in Muzaffarpur. And Sri Narayan Medical Institute in Saharsa. A key feature for many of these, which is great for students, is that they have large attached hospitals. That means really good opportunities for hands-on clinical learning right from the start.
Okay, so we've covered getting in. What's it actually like being a medical student in Bihar? What's the day-to-day? Clinical exposure, campus life, accommodation?
From what we gather, drawing insights from various colleges, including the traditional medicine ones, it seems like a pretty rounded experience. The clinical exposure is definitely a strong point. Most colleges having their own hospitals means students get hands-on training, working in OPDs, outpatient departments, and IPDs, inpatient departments. That's invaluable. They often get involved in community health programs too, which gives a broader perspective. Culturally, Bihar's strong connection to Indian traditions, especially for students in BAMs or BUMs, can really add another dimension to their learning. Practical stuff. Many main colleges are in or near Patna, so connectivity is generally road, rail, air, and importantly, most seem to provide decent hostel accommodation and campus Wi-Fi. You know, the essentials for focusing on your studies.
Sounds like a good mix of hard work and a supportive environment. So after graduation, let's say someone finishes BAMS, what kind of career paths open up? Is it diverse?
Oh, absolutely. For BAMS grads, the options are really quite varied. You can, of course, start your own private practice or join an established Ayurvedic hospital. Many go for higher studies, MD or PhD, which leads to teaching or research careers, maybe even in national research bodies. The pharmaceutical industry is also interested roles in R&D for herbal products or marketing. And the wellness sector is booming. Specialists in things like panchakarma or yoga can set up wellness centers. We heard potential earnings could be upwards of 10 lakhs a year for established specialists. Plus, there are government jobs and healthcare initiatives that focus on Ayurveda. And it's similar for BHMS graduates, too, actually. Private practice, government roles, teaching, research, specializing further with an MD and homeopathy, lots of avenues.
That's a really encouraging picture of life after graduation. So finally, any last bits of practical advice for students just starting this whole admission journey in Bihar? Key takeaways.
Okay, top tips. 1. Aim high on your NEET UG score. Even if you're looking at courses with lower cutoffs, a better score always gives you more options, especially for those government MBBS, BDS seats. 2. Be obsessive about checking the official website's BCEC EB for state quota and maybe AACCC if you're looking at Ayush courses nationally. Dates, rules, lists, they can change. You have to stay updated. 3. Get your documents ready way ahead of time. Don't scramble at the last minute. Certificates, photos, IDs, everything. And maybe 4. Use reliable NEET rank predictors online. They aren't perfect, but they can give you a realistic sense of where you stand and help you strategize your college choices. It's really about smart planning. Hashtag outro.
Well, we've certainly covered a lot of ground today, peeling back the layers on medical admissions in Bihar. It might still feel a bit daunting, but hopefully having this detailed info gives you a clearer map to navigate it.
Absolutely. That diligence checking facts, verifying information from official sources, and planning ahead, those are really your best assets. Understanding the why behind all these steps, that's what really helps you find your path.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. As medicine keeps evolving, how might this growing integration of traditional systems, like Ayurveda, with modern practice actually reshape healthcare careers in places like Bihar? And what new, maybe unexpected opportunities could that create for you down the line?